Hey friends, my name is Bond, this is Oleg, and in today's video we're going to review a Zelos watch. If you're like me, you're probably following a few YouTube channels that review watches, and you probably have seen reviews of this watch pop up in the last week and a half or so. Well, now it's my turn to review this watch. I just want to let you know that Zelos did provide this watch for the review for free. We get to keep it. It's not going to affect the review in any way, just want to be transparent. Now, about a year and a half ago, I already reviewed a very similar watch, actually in exactly the same color combination, Zelos Mako version 3. That one was in stainless steel, this one is in titanium. So I am very familiar with this watch. I owned it for a year and a half. If you're curious, check out that review. I will leave a link in the description below. So first, let's talk about the specs of the watch, and what a better way to start if not by talking about the dimensions. The diameter of the watch is 40 millimeters. It has a 46 millimeter lug-to-lug distance. However, it does have first protruding link. So the actual distance from one protruding link to the other protruding link is about 52 millimeters. It has a 20 millimeter lug width, and it's about 14 millimeters thick. Personally, I'm a fan of Zelos Mako line of watches. I like the design, I like the aesthetic, and I also like the specs that you get for the value. So how do you take a watch that's already great and make it greater? Of course, you make it in titanium, and that's what this watch is made out of. So the case and the bracelet are made out of titanium. It has a really nice finish to it. A few of the titanium watches that are reviewed in this price category don't have as nice of a finish. A lot of them go with that bead blasted finish because it's easier to do on a titanium. Doing brushing and polishing on titanium is not easy. So I really appreciate the finish of this watch. If I wasn't specifically told that this is a titanium watch, it would be kind of difficult to tell the difference between this and the stainless steel version, which is a big compliment to Zelos and their finishing abilities, because titanium is a harder material to work with than stainless steel. The case has some beveling, which makes the watch wear smaller on the wrist, wear thinner on the wrist, I should say. So we have beveling on top of the lugs and on the bottom of the case. We also have this beveling on a crown guard. So top of the crown has this half crown guard, and then the crown kind of recesses into the case. So the crown guard becomes part of the design, and the beveling on this crown guard is very smart because it kind of makes this crown guard almost disappear, especially if you're looking at it from the side profile. Again, it makes the watch look thinner than it actually is. Speaking of the crown is at the 4 o'clock position. It's a lumed screw down crown with the Zelos logo. I'll demonstrate the lume in a few minutes here or so. It wouldn't be a diver watch without a diver style bezel. This one has a ceramic bezel insert, 120 click unidirectional bezel. The bezel action is okay. So initially when I just unboxed this watch, the bezel action was pretty bad. It didn't feel satisfying. It was too tough to turn. The grip wasn't good enough for how much resistance the bezel had. Now, a few days later, the bezel kind of worn in, so it is better. It's more satisfying, it's nice, clicky bezel action. However, I do have a negative with this bezel, and it's the bezel play. It's not too bad on the video. It kind of looks more dramatic than it actually is, but it does have a little bit of a back play on this bezel. I don't know if other versions of this watch have the same problem, or maybe it's just a small QC issue with my specific version. Again, it's not too bad, but something to mention. On a positive, the bezel does align perfectly, and it is a lumed bezel. In fact, here's a lume shot for you. The watch has amazing lume. Zelos seems to always deliver with their lume. Even application, enough layers, it lasts for a really long time. Absolutely no complaints with this lume whatsoever. The watch is available in a few different color combinations. They sent me this green bezel, green dial version. As I said, I already owned this exact color combination in stainless steel, and it was one of my favorite watches to wear with a t-shirt and jeans on a nice sunny day. The way it plays with the light, the way it kind of camouflages itself depending on the lighting condition, it's really well done stuff. So it has a bit of a sunburst effect on this dial, but not too much. You also have all applied indices, and you have a chapter ring that is kind of raised above the dial. What I noticed on the stainless steel version, that chapter ring was done in green. On this version, it seems to be done in black. I'm not sure why they made that change. I think green looked attractive enough. This black also looks attractive. It's a small difference, but something to mention to you. We have a date cut out by the 6 o'clock position. I appreciate the attention to detail here. They color matched the background of the date wheel to the color of the dial. Good stuff. not too much writing, applied logo by the 12 o'clock position, and that's pretty much it. Now, this version, the green version, has a gilt accent, so all the indices, the set of hands, have this gilt look to them. Some people will appreciate it, some people would not like it. I think gilt and green is very 2021. I see a lot of new watches that are coming out having these gilt accents, and I also see a lot of green dial, green bezel watches. So this watch here is kind of combination of all 2021 trends. The Zelos Mako has a domed and boxed sapphire crystal. I like the look of the sapphire crystal, however, I have a small negative here. Now this negative is very specific to people who like to take pictures of their watches. This watch is very difficult to photograph, very difficult to showcase on video because of how much reflection this domed sapphire crystal gives. You always see the camera in the crystal, you always see the camera reflected back at you. It reflects like crazy. So a few more layers of AR coating would be really appreciated, and I actually think it would be a smart marketing move for Zelos to apply more AR coating on this crystal, because the first thing we want to do when we get a new watch is to put it on the wrist, take a nice photo and post it on Instagram. And this watch here, unfortunately, is very difficult to photograph, well, at least for my photography skills. So a few more AR coating layers would be great. Now, in terms of usage of this watch and the visibility, it's clear enough. It's not really impeding with your ability to tell time. My AR coating complaint is more for taking photos and videos of this timepiece. As I mentioned already, the watch comes on a titanium bracelet. There are some nice improvements in this titanium bracelet over the stainless steel version. The first improvement are these quick release pins on the bracelet. I really like that. I wish all the watches had it. It's just so easy to change this bracelet for a NATO strap, let's say, or for a leather strap. Makes it a breeze. I really appreciate that detail. Another update in this titanium bracelet over the stainless steel version is the new clasp. Now, we've seen this clasp on other Zelos watches. I really like this design. I like the old clasp. This one here is even better because it has micro adjustments. So it has this little latch, you pull it and you can adjust the extension. It's about an extra link that you get. And of course you can adjust it incrementally. You don't have to go full link out or in. There are small increments. This feature is excellent, especially for summer. I find that I use it all the time, not only on this watch, but on other watches that have this quick micro adjusts. The rest of the bracelet is also well done. We have rounded off edges with some chamfering there. We also have screw-in-place pins. I have a small complaint with these screw-in-place pins. First of all, they're really tiny, so you have to have a tiny screwdriver. What I found works is actually taking a small screwdriver, and if it doesn't fit, kind of sanding it down a little bit so it fits into the opening. But these screws are screwed in very tightly, and chipping these screws is easy. So be careful when you resize your watch. And if you're not very confident with these tools, or if you don't have the proper tools to get the job done, I would take the watch to a watchmaker to get it resized. You don't want to chip these little screws because then it's very difficult to take them out or to replace them. This diver is powered by the Moyota 9 series movement, 9015 to be specific. It has 24 joules, beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour, and has 42 hours of power reserve. It's a great choice of a movement, and it's exactly the movement that I wanted to see in a watch in this price category, $400 to $500. One of the biggest advantages of having a titanium watch over a stainless steel watch is the reduction in weight. Titanium is a lighter material than stainless steel. The stainless steel version of this watch, sized for my wrist about 7.5 inches, weighed 165 grams. This new titanium version weighs 125 grams. So the weight difference between the stainless steel version and this new titanium version is pretty substantial. However, when you take this watch in your hands, you can't really tell that this is a titanium watch. I don't mean that as a bad thing. I don't mean that as a good thing. It just is. When you pick up this watch, it could be a stainless steel watch. It could be a titanium watch. You don't know. First of all, the finish is pretty good, so that doesn't really give it away that it's a titanium watch. And secondly, the weight. Yes, it is lighter than the old stainless steel version, but in hindsight, that version might have been a little bit too heavy. You would expect a 40mm diver watch to weigh about 145, maybe 140 grams. This watch being about 125 grams is still lighter, but it's a very slight weight difference. So really in your hands, it doesn't really feel like a titanium watch, if you know what I mean. Sometimes you pick up a titanium watch, you can tell right away, oh, that's a titanium timepiece. This watch here, you can't tell right away. It could pass for a stainless steel watch. Again, it's not a bad thing, it's not a good thing. It's just something that you could expect when you get one of these timepieces. With all of that being said, when you put this watch on your wrist, that's when you really feel the difference between stainless steel and the titanium version. On the wrist, it wears really nice, it's nicely balanced, and that is a big advantage of titanium watches. How they wear on the wrist, wearing it all day doesn't become jarring whatsoever. I also like the size of this watch and the thickness. Yes, 14 millimeters sounds pretty thick, but that includes a heavily domed sapphire crystal. On the wrist, the watch wears much thinner, especially with all the chamfered edges. Doesn't have awkward protrusions, doesn't have awkward angles, except for first male links, first protruding links. It's not too bad on my size of a wrist, so I don't mind it, but I know it's going to be a negative for a lot of people. The last thing I want to mention is the new packaging. So the watch now has a smaller wooden box, which I really appreciate. It also comes in the new watch case, and this watch case feels great. It opens like a book. It's made out of leather, and inside has this kind of a soft suede material almost, has these loops to hook your watch on, fits 4 watches, but really you could use this case for something else, like your everyday carry or something. I really like the fact that they changed up their packaging, because if you have more than one Zelos watch, you probably have quite a few of these watch rolls, and yes, they are useful, but after a while you only need so many watch rolls. So having something like this as well kind of extends the usability of packaging. Well done, Zelos. So you have some positives, you have some negatives. Overall, I think it's a great value for money watch. I wish the bezel was a bit tighter. It didn't have that back play. I also wish they applied more AR coating on the crystal. Maybe these first protruding links are a bit of a negative for people with smaller wrists. To me, it's not a big deal, but I'm still gonna count it as a small negative. But other than that, I really like this timepiece. Maybe check out a few other reviews, do your research if you're interested in purchasing one of these watches. I appreciate you watching this video until the end. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the YouTube channel, we release new videos every week, and leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about this new titanium Zelos watch. Does it need to be in titanium? Would you prefer stainless steel? Leave all your thoughts below. I always enjoy reading your comments. By the way, today on my wrist, I'm wearing my Tudor Black Bay 58. I did a full review of this watch. That video can be found on the YouTube channel. I will also leave it linked in the description below. Also in the description below, there are a couple of other links. There is a secret link and there is a link to bondnailstraps.com. Check them out if you're curious. Thanks for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. You know, Bond, you kind of stink. I think we need to give you a bath. Maybe tonight. Maybe tonight is your night. You've also been shedding a lot. I guess it's very hot for you. You don't like this heat wave? I'm sweating. I think we have about 30 seconds before you start panting. So I guess we should start filming this video.